Greetings, Kindred. I am Voivode Maquette, and welcome back to Our World of Darkness and another episode of From the Noddist Library with a very special edition. Now, today we're not going to go jumping into books like we typically do. We're not going to go page by page through a huge thing. This is going to be a rather short and sweet episode because I want to discuss this book. This is the new printed for the Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition version of the Book of Nod. It is a hardcover. It comes with this beautiful little ribbon here to help keep your place. And it is lined along the edges here in silver. I don't know if that's picking up very well, but I gotta say that this is a beautifully put together book. Now, that being said, I also want to bring this. This is the exact same book printed in 1997. I have had this for years. It has held up very well. I think it's got like one page that's loose. This was given to me by a gamer friend a long time ago. It is paperback. It is not highlighted in any fashion. It does not come with a ribbon. But this book has served its purpose since I started playing this game, and I love it very, very much. That being said, I also love this very, very much. They're the exact same book. The pictures are a little clearer. The typeface is a little neater, but page per page. If I randomly open a book page, where am I? This is page 50. Then came the great deluge, a great flood that washed over the world. The city was destroyed, and the children of Seth with it. Again Cain fell into great sorrow, and went into solitude, and he left us, his progeny, to our own ends. And this is what we've got here. Sorry about the glare. But this is what we got. We got this picture of... I've always assumed that to be Cain having evil thoughts whispered into his ears. But this is page 50 and 51. So if I grab this book... Then came the great deluge, a great flood that washed over the world. The city was destroyed, the children of Seth with it. Again, Cain fell into great sorrow and went into solitude, and left us, his progeny, to our own ends. Like I said, page for page, identical. Just the pictures are a little clearer, they're glossier. It is a very well, beautiful, put together book. And all I can say is if you have an old copy, you can be happy with it. If you want a new copy, you'll be happy with it if you like the old ones. There are no tidbits of V5 lore that has popped up in the Book of Nod at all, or anything like that. It is the exact same book. It's like just buying the same book because you want a prettier copy. Again, I am not sad that I did it. I love this book, and I was able to decide to gift my original Book of Nod to someone else who wanted a copy. So that does make me very happy. It is the same authors. It is the same story inside. I think I feel a little bit more comfortable carrying around the hardcover book, that it's going to be less damaged over time. But yeah, it's just great. And I got to say that I'm glad that they did this. I think the biggest difference between these two books, because they are virtually identical books, is that if you had bought the deluxe edition, it came with scrolls and a tablet and a box with the circle of Noddist skulls singed onto it, like a Raiders of the Lost Ark kind of thing. And it was great. I mean, I considered like, ooh, I want to get this because I kind of wanted to get the tablet that it came with and put it under glass and display in my house somewhere. But I could not justify getting it. I think now that those little tidbits are floating around out there, there's a good chance that I might try to, over time, get a hold of a deluxe edition anyway, giving me 3 copies at that point of the Book of Nod. But it's a great book that details the chronicles of Cain and the Antediluvians through their perspective. If you have not read it before, it's a very debated book in the Vampire the Masquerade and the World of Darkness in general. There's no telling who actually wrote it. Now, in game, it was compiled by Aristotle de Laurent, who is a Malkavian, and his ward, his surrogate child, Becket, Cuthfert Becket, the famed gangrel archaeologist. And it is just a really neat thing to have. In my games, I always said that it got published and made its way into human hands, and every once in a while it'll pop up in some used bookstore or something like that, which causes everybody in the city to have a meltdown of what's going on. But I gotta say that I am very happy that I decided to invest in this because it's just such a beautifully put together book, as was the original. But the fact that it's hardcover just adds that little bit more personal value. But yeah, has anybody else purchased this book out there? What do you think about it? Were you hoping for more? Are you dissatisfied in any way? I personally am not, regardless of the fact that I just bought another copy of the same book that I already had. It's well worth having, in my opinion, if you run games where Nod lore comes up from time to time. And it does in my games. It always has. I've actually used... I have not used the new one as of yet, but the old one I have used as a prop in my game in the past, and I do plan on eventually having that kind of thing happen at some point again, whether it's in some Elder Cainite's personal collection or if it pops up as a masquerade breach somewhere. It is always just a fun thing to be able to let people handle the thing that you're describing to them in a story. And that's actually another thing, is you could always just make photocopies of individual pages, tea stain them, burn the edges, and have a relic be found. You know, there's so many fun things that you can do with this, and Nod fragments are just always something fun to play with. Now, one thing that I've always loved about the Book of Nod is when you get into the descriptions of the clans, because you can tell that there have been some editor's notes when it comes to those kind of things, little notations that have definitely made their way into the final copy. And for those of you who are interested in a full reading, due to the fact that it is an intellectual property that belongs to a company, I'm not going to read straight out from the Book of Nod. However, the introduction to our Midnight Mass videos, we are reading chapter by chapter of the Book of Nod, piece by piece, so that everybody can get the entire story over time. Now, what I am getting at here when I said the clans takes place actually on the very next page of what we were just looking at, on page 52, under the Tale of the First City, which is this beautiful picture. This is actually page 46 and 47. But on page 53, you actually start getting right here this famous picture of Cain and his... I'm not going to get this right. Here we go. Right here, this famed picture of Cain and his children. You start getting a list of all of the different clans, and you have... They brought in the Kingship clan, and in notations it says Ventru. The Clan of Death, it says Giovanni, and I have always personally seen that as hilarious, given the fact that you would think that after all of the time that Aristotle de Laurent has spent looking into lore, that he would have heard at least some whisper of the Cappadocians, especially considering the fact that Aristotle de Laurent, the guy who compiled this, was born in 1101 current era, and the Camarilla was founded in 1435, or at least it was announced in 1435, and the formation of the Camarilla had everything to do, or at least the solidification of the Camarilla had everything to do with the conspiracy of Isaac and the fact that they were killing the Cappadocians, specifically Cappadocius at that point. And I understand that I'm nerding out big time and giving you guys top rung information that you probably don't want. But the fact is, like, I do not believe that this Malkavian doesn't know about the Cappadocians. But it's such an interesting thing because wherever they mention the Clan of Death, they put the Giovanni in there, and that's always been just hilarious to me. So yeah, those are my thoughts, at least my surface thoughts on the Book of Nods reprinting, the 2021 version versus the 1997 version. This is 24 years of adaptation that we got. It's the exact same book. Do not feel pressured to buy it, but if you want it, it is such a great book. I love it, and I'm very, very happy that I have this new, pretty shiny copy. And if you're new to Vampire the Masquerade, you have a chance of grabbing at least a reprinting of history. And it's I don't know. I know that I was so excited when I got my first copy of the Book of Nod. A friend of mine who, sadly, I haven't seen him since, but he was a player in my old LARP game, and his name was Ewan. He decided that he wasn't taking any of his vampire stuff with him when he left, and he left me a trunk full of Vampire the Masquerade books. And among them were the Book of Nod, Revelations of the Dark Mother, the Hunter's Apothrica, the Silver Record, just like all the vampire, all the World of Darkness Bibles. And I'm kind of interested in seeing if any of these other ones end up getting recreated over time. If we're going to get reprints of all of them. If so, I'm going to tell you, I got them all. There's a good chance I'm going to end up getting the hard copies anyway, because they're just so much nicer to have than the paperbacks. So that's all I have to say. If anybody has anything to say about the Book of Nods reprint, I'm very interested in starting conversations about these beautiful books. I am Voivode Maquette. This is Our World of Darkness, and thank you for joining me in the Noddist Library as we just gone over the Book of Nod. Good evening.